We are Rogue Media Sports.
The Cam Show. It's Rogue Media Sports Network. It's Wednesday. We got my man ZB, as his friends call him, running the board. Zach Burke. I'm Cam Stewart. It is Rogue Media Sports Network. It's the Colt Brennan Memorial Studio that we're in right now. I think it's important every couple of weeks that we recognize that. This is the Colt Brennan Memorial Studio. We were going through the 07 Heisman finalists yesterday off the air because this is the shit we do off the air. We talked about the Heisman Trophy quite a bit. And we could have made this into a segment, but I don't know how much legs it'll have, Zach. But it was who is like the Heisman Trophy winner of our lifetime with the least staying power.
Yeah.
Like, deserved, no doubt. But like, oh yeah, that guy played college football. Oh, sure, he won the Heisman Trophy. I think we decided mine was like from actually watching college football, it's Troy Smith, who was one of the first that I saw. But in my lifetime, I think it's got to be Jason White.
See, that's
like, who is Jason White?
See, I kind of also thought so. It's one of those that obviously it encapsulates the season that they had, because the one that I thought of for me was Rashawn Salam from Colorado.
Yeah. That's a tough one to say.
It is. Well, it's not like Aqib
Talib.
Thank you.
Aqib Talib.
I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with his name.
It rhymes,
this week.
Man.
I know.
He's a Dallas guy.
Yeah, no, he is. Played at Kansas too. But
yeah,
the other one I thought of was a guy like Eric Crouch, because
yes, Eric Crouch would be also my lifetime, right?
Yeah, that's two. It's the year before Jason White, I think.
And White was 01, Palmer was 02.
I think that's how it works out. Yeah, and then Crouch was 2000,
or was
here? I'll look this up too.
Who was 03 then? Leinart 04, Bush 05. He's either 2000 or 2003.
Oh, man, that takes long to get to this sometimes. Like they have it at the very bottom.
It should be the first thing that pops up.
But
for
they
Eric
have
Crouch.
Oh, I went in the wrong way then.
Well, we do need 2000 and 2003.
So okay, we're off a bit. 2003 was Jason White.
Okay.
2002 was Carson Palmer. 2001 was Eric Crouch. 2000, another one that kind of falls into this.
Mike Rozier.
Chris Winkie.
Is Mike Rozier like 96?
No, I thought it was
Chris Winkie. Yeah, that would definitely.
Did Mike 83.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm getting him mixed up with somebody that there's no way I'm that far off. I am, but I'm mixing him up with somebody that someone was watching this and was like, "You effing idiot." Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with, I guess, Jason White. Although, Jason White, Eric Crouch, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Troy Smith falls right into that as well. Kids younger than me will say Marcus Mariota, who ran away with the Heisman Trophy. I think this started because we were talking about Andre Ware.
Yeah.
Who barely won the Heisman. How many guys don't get 40% of the vote and win the thing?
Not many.
Not many, Zach. Actually, I think it started with me saying Colt McCoy should have won the Heisman in 08.
Yeah. We were there, and
Even
also
09, he goes to the national championship game. That's his senior year, but he's better in 08.
Somehow,
he's also his team's leading rusher. People forget that.
Somehow connected in all of this, just to show how inside baseball works, is we also had the discussion about 1AA players that received votes too.
Yes. Some of them were finalists. Randy Moss was a finalist.
Yeah. What was it? Steve McNair finished second the year that.
Can you look up something for me as we talk about this? I don't know what year it was, but Gordy Lockbaum of Holy Cross.
Okay.
1AA played both ways and had like a real preseason Heisman hype. It would have been the 80s.
Yeah, I can tell by his picture. Man, those uniforms are very like high school football-y.
Yes.
Let's see.
And I wonder where he actually finished. I'll bet he finished in the top 6 or 8. Do you have the year there?
I'm looking through his 80s. Wikipedia right now.
Okay.
He was a two-time first-team All-American in 86 and 87 as a DB.
Pretty good, man.
Oh, he finished third in the Heisman Trophy
Third.
in '87.
Holy cross. 87 was this is tough.
Oh, here's
Is
what
this someone we talked about the other day?
87.
87
I'll look this
Heisman
up
Trophy winner?
because I'm interested in this
Actually,
too.
I think I know who it is.
So he finished third as a one double A player in the Heisman, as we brought up, but the Walter Payton Award is given to that year's top. He wasn't the top player, like he didn't win the Walter Payton Award for the one double A player of the year.
Really?
Kenny Gamble out of Colgate did.
That's horseshit.
87
That's
Heisman.
horseshit. Yeah, let me know when you've got it because I think I know who it is. Those kind of late 80s.
Oh, Tim Brown.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was thinking Gino Torretta at first, but then I was like, no, I think it's Tim Brown the year before they won the national championship in '88.
Tim Brown at 87.
Tim Brown.
Another Dallas guy.
Tim Brown. I won't spend too long on this.
Uh-oh.
But can I argue that Tim Brown doesn't have great staying power, even as a Hall of Famer? Like, do you think,
At
like,
the
when you think
time-
great receivers of all time, how long does it take to get you to think about Tim Brown?
Okay.
I'm not saying
well,
he didn't have a great career. I'm not saying he didn't deserve the Hall of Fame. This is purely like subjective.
is Tim Brown a guy where he benefited from not a lot of other a lot of other great wide receivers around at that time, or like I've always thought
I guess,
that
but he
was
also
a-
didn't have great quarterbacks.
So that's kind of like you can't hold that.
Like he had Rich
against him.
Gannon for a little bit. Rich Gannon wins the MVP. This is the kind of the twilight of Tim Brown's career, the early 2000s.
Yeah, he was there with.
But like for the
Joey-
most part,
there was once that Raiders wide receiving core of Tim Brown, Jerry Porter, and Joe Rice.
close.
Joey
Jerry Rice.
Huh?
Jerry Rice.
I got my. Thank you.
That would have been funny though.
It would have been my bad. It's just not my day.
See, this is obviously purely subjective, but I get fascinated by songs that don't have staying power. You'll remember a song from when you were a kid, and you're like, that song was huge. Like that was a big song, but like nobody younger than you remembers it. You know, so that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
This is a Boston sports show. And only one, guy who played in Boston won the Heisman Trophy. Can you name, Zach, the two? Oh, I should double check that. I think there's only two. The two Heisman Trophy winners who played their high school football in Massachusetts. You can name one, for sure.
Okay.
Because he also played his college football in Massachusetts.
Oh, would Doug Flutie be
Doug
one?
Flutie,
Okay.
yes.
Is the other one before Flutie?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is nothing against you, but I give you 0% chance to get it.
Then I'm not even gonna guess.
The Winchester rifle, Joe Bellino, out of Navy, won it in 1962.
Okay.
And the famous story is that when he threw his cap up at graduation, a youngster caught it and ran away with it. A youngster whose dad was an assistant coach at Navy and really their chief scout at Navy. That young man, Bill Belichick. At least that's the legend. I can't remember if Dick Kazmaier's from Massachusetts. He might be. He won it with Princeton in like 53. It's neither here nor there. Speaking of Bill Belichick, speaking of the New England Patriots, I've been wrestling back and forth, and I've kind of talked about it on the show a few times, but now I'm really starting to dig into it. And that is, for the rest of this season, do the Patriots just need to completely tank and lose every game? Now, they can tank without trying because they suck that bad. I'm not stupid, okay? But from a fan standpoint, should we even be rooting for them to win games? Because like at the end of last year, I think we were not rooting for them to win games because they needed a quarterback, and that was going to be a real big quarterback draft. And it was like, get as high a pick as you can. I mentioned it yesterday on yesterday's show, but Chad Ryland missing the field goal against the Giants could be one of the best things that's ever happened to the Patriots, because both those teams really wanted a quarterback in the top three. The Giants win the game. They get bumped to fourth. They don't get any of those top three quarterbacks, and the Patriots do get Drake May. Now, Chad Ryland could have helped by missing a field goal against Denver on Christmas Eve, but that was fun, so I'll take it. And now, as they sit at 3-10, should we be rooting for them to lose the rest of their games? Yes and no. So right now they're slotted at the 4th pick, and nobody has 1 win. So all the teams ahead of them have 2. That would be Jacksonville, Vegas, and the New York Football Giants. Now, what the Patriots have that's not good for a tiebreaker, but what is good for them losing games, is their remaining strength of schedule is literally the best in football. They've got the Arizona Cardinals, who week by week could be the winner of the NFC West. And they've got 2 games against Buffalo. Amazing, by the way. The Bills clinched the division on Sunday night, and they have not even played the Patriots yet. The Patriots suck, don't get me wrong, but that's hilarious. They haven't even played one of the teams in their division. This was supposed to be the best division in football this year, the AFC East, and the Bills clinched it on December 1st, which, by the way, I did look this up, if you're keeping score at home, is only 1 week later than the 2007 Patriots clinched the AFC East, and that team went 16-0. So that is how bad, how garbage the rest of this division has been. Miami, of course, off on the wrong foot for most of the season. They can't beat good teams. And the Jets are the Jets. Thank good Lord. The Jets are still the Jets. So right now, again, the Patriots at 4th, Jacksonville 3 at 2-10. They have got the worst remaining schedule. So that'll help them in tiebreaker situations, but they could fall ass backwards into winning a game. The Raiders have the 24th remaining strength of schedule, and the Giants have the 13th best remaining strength of schedule. I cannot see a world where the Giants win another football game. They're dismally bad, so bad. They deserve that number 1 pick. And when you look at the 3 that are drafting ahead of, I should say the first 2 picks in the draft, the Giants and the Raiders, they're both going quarterback, or at least it's one of their biggest needs that these mock drafts are putting out there. Obviously, the Giants need one, and Vegas, I don't think they're going with Gardner Minshew long-term after he comes back from this injury. I doubt it. Jacksonville at 3. I know this is not a hot take, man, but it must really, 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 really suck to be a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. There's the only team in your market, and you tanked it right. You went 1-15 that year, and you got the generational quarterback, the one that was circled on mock drafts for 3 years. You got him, and you can't get it right, nor can he probably get it right. So they don't need a quarterback because they're paying the equivalent of an NBA max deal for their quarterback that they've got right now. But the jury's still out on if that gets any better. But if each of those 3 teams lose out, the Jaguars will have the number 1 pick, which could happen because they have the 32nd ranked strength of schedule. And now they've got Trevor Lawrence banged up, I would say. So they could just see it out at 2-15 and win all the tiebreakers and get the number 1 pick. And in that case, it will almost certainly be Travis Hunter. So there you go, Dion. He's not going to go to a cold weather place. He's just going to go to Jacksonville. And your son Shador, who you also don't want going to a cold weather place, going to be playing in a dome, but he's going to be playing for Antonio Pierce. So good luck. Good luck with that. And then the Patriots at 4, which looks like the spot that they're going to potentially be in. Carolina is bearing down on them at 5, and they have the 12th hardest strength of schedule. And Cleveland. We almost had one with a Cleveland win last night. So anywhere, I would say, between 4 and 7. And these mock drafts that are coming out now, this is the one that I'm going to go with because I'm seeing a lot of overlap in these. This is from USA Today. Travis Hunter 1, Cam Ward 2nd to the Giants. So that's the first quarterback off the board. Then Shador to Vegas. And then they've still got the Patriots at 4. They've got Will Campbell as the guy. But looking at 5, that's Carolina. They're looking at the Carter from Penn State, the edge rusher. And And then Kelvin Banks at 6, the offensive tackle from UT. And then at 7, when we get to the Jets, it's Jalen Milroe. So I'm really looking at those teams, right? Because the Jets probably will go quarterback amazingly from where we were at the start of this year to where we are now. Amazingly, they're going to go quarterback. So 4 is offensive tackle, 5 is edge rusher, 6 is offensive tackle. So Patriots, Panthers, Titans, and then after the Jets will be the Browns, who they've got Tet McMillan because, hey, he's going to be the best player on the board. And he's going to be a big-time playmaker. So the teams we're looking at, really, Tennessee, Carolina, New England, 2 of those 3 are going to draft tackles. And they go with Will Campbell on here from LSU. And I've been looking at Campbell and Banks this whole season. And Banks is actually not having a great season. There's been like some speculation like, this kid wasn't as good as he was last year. And Will Campbell also hasn't quite lived up to the hype, All-American last year. And that has suddenly made this draft class for offensive linemen just good, not a great draft class. So for the first time this year, I'm wondering if the Patriots even stray away from that position. If you watch any game this year, it looks like offensive line, offensive line, offensive line. That's what you need more than anything. But when you watch this Patriots team, as we went over at the beginning of this week, you realize they need everything. They need help at every position that is not quarterback, including corner, where your second best player plays, because you need a lot of help outside of him. So do you look at 4 or 5 or 6 and say, you know what, we're just probably going to get the best player on the board because we really need another pass rusher as well. So that's where Abdul Carter comes into play, a guy who's skyrocketed up the draft boards. That's a position the Patriots could really use some help with too. So if it's not a great offensive line draft, can you afford to try and get a tackle in the second round? Or are you of the mindset that, hey, Cam, it's not a great draft. You need to take the best one that you can. And I think it could be Kelvin Banks, because as kind of underachieving as he's been this year, there are some reports that Will Campbell is not going to be, that tackle is not going to be his best position in the NFL. They're so worried about the arm length of it, and that could push him to guard. In fact, some outlets are like grading him as an interior offensive lineman. Now, of course, the Patriots do need guards because they need everything on the offensive line, but you're not picking a guard or someone who projects as a guard with the 4th pick in the draft. With all of these outlets and all their metrics, Kelvin Banks still rates higher than Will Campbell. And trust me, the last thing I want is more Texas Longhorns on my team, but Kelvin Banks seems to grade out higher. So this is going to be fascinating here with how many games the Patriots going to win here, if any, what pick are they going to settle into, and where could they be looking? Because honestly, edge rusher with Abdul Carter from Penn State is not the worst way to go. I wouldn't love going wide receiver in a top 5 pick. There's just a quarterback can elevate that position more so than they can left tackle. And certainly they can't elevate pass rusher. So I would trust my quarterback in kind of slowly building those positions. You need to do it, but I wouldn't use my top premium picks on it the way I would for a tackle or an edge rusher. So we got to keep an eye on that. We've also got to keep an eye on Matt Barry of the Bruins Benders podcast, because we've got to catch up with Bruins and the new Joe Sacco era. That's coming up next on The Cam Show.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Welcome to a special edition of the Doomsday Podcast. Look at this. We got one of the great golfers in the world, certainly one of the great pass rushers in NFL history.
But he also had a vision for you. And so it was like you had the best of both worlds, right? You had somebody on you early, and then you had somebody who was maybe
More relaxed. What were a couple of your biggest takeaways? The first thing you referred to that I've spoken to some personnel people and general managers of the league to get some, independent, objective assessments of the players the Cowboys picked, and we'll go through that. Has the general manager changed at all in the draft?
Nope, it's been the same since I was here the last time.
Back to the Cam Show. We've got our expert Matt Barry of the Bruins Benders podcast catching us up on the Bees and what is now a new era. So, Matt, let's start there. Thoughts so far on the Joe Sacco era in Boston?
Well, I like the way they're playing. They're getting a little bit more back to their identity. Goal scoring is still a major issue, and it would have been. That's what Don Sweeney said at the start of the year, that they were a winger short. Their goal scoring would be a problem, and it is. They're still turning the puck over some, but they're playing a little bit more simplified, and I like the way they're playing. Their schedule has been favorable, so let's have that as a caveat. They're playing some bad teams. They lost to Pittsburgh. That was unfortunate. Should have beaten them. And Montreal is not a very good team, not a very good defensive team. So those 6 goals are, that's not a real true indication of them offensively. So it's going to be an issue the rest of the season. They just don't have the scoring depth. So you're going to get a lot of 2-1, 1-0, 3-2 games. And they just have to, it's a matter of whether or not they can win the majority of them and get the goaltending they need. But here's one thing I do like. They're starting to outshoot opponents when they were being a little bit too selective shooting the puck.
Never a Montgomery thing.
Never. It was
even when they were good.
It was quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Now it seems to be more quantity, especially from the back end. Guys like McAvoy and even like an Andrew Peak. They get shots on net now, so maybe that's helpful. But all in all, I think they're playing a better brand of hockey. It's a little bit more entertaining. They seem to be playing a little bit hard, a little bit more energy. But it's they're gonna be playing some better teams here soon, and they still haven't beaten a really good team, or not many of them, this season. So can they beat a Winnipeg? Can they beat teams can they beat a Carolina or a Florida or Washington, or can they beat those teams? And we'll have to see.
So you've talked about the structure they play with, and we've kind of been talking about this all year. They need to be like a structured, strict defensive team.
Yes.
Obviously, the goals need to get better because you need to score goals to win. But if they continue playing like this, and with this kind of philosophy, and they were in playoff position by American Thanksgiving, that's what we keep talking about.
They did it. Yeah.
Is that a team that can get in the playoffs like that?
Yes, they can, because if you look behind them, Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo, they're still better than those teams, I think. It won't be as much of a runaway. It might come down to April. But I think that they're still better. There's still a real separation between the top 4 and the bottom 4 in that division. They I think are maybe not comfortably, but they're in that top 4. They just have to play the right way and play the way they're capable of. And I think if they do, and they stay away from the major injury, then I think they should still make the playoffs. Now, what happens then? It's either going to be Florida or Toronto in the first round. Now, Toronto historically has been they've had success, obviously. Florida, they have not. So if it's Florida in the first round, it'll be an interesting matchup, but it's not a favorable one for Boston. But I do think that they get in, and it might be a little scarier than usual, but I think they still get in.
That's all the Jacobs care about.
That's all they care about.
Playoff gate.
Mhm.
And hey, I mean, they beat Toronto without really scoring goals last year. So
Right. I mean, Toronto has that jinx. It's that thing. Now, I will say this about Toronto: getting much better goaltending from Stellaris, getting a much better defense. Yeah, Ekman Larson now they have much better defense. They're a more well-rounded team. Have they played that way all the time? No. I mean, they're still inconsistent as heck. And Austin Matthews was out for a while. He's back. So if they're healthy, they're more talented than Boston. I mean, that's just the way it is. So if they play the way they're capable, I think this is the year that they beat Boston if they get that first-round matchup. I really do. But stranger things have happened, and Boston could still beat them because they have, Toronto has that mental thing.
Absolutely. And it's happened a couple of times where, the Bruins get over that hump over Toronto because they've got the, advantage psychologically. And then they face Florida, in which they are very much on the disadvantage psychologically. So and looking at the goal scoring of this team, obviously Pastrnak can't go 2 goals in 16 games like that. No. That can't happen when it just did. But where do you see, what do you see in terms of this goal scoring getting better? Like, it's going to be the guys on the roster now. Coyle had a career year last year. Frederick had a career year last year. Do we expect more from Elias Lindholm? Geeky had a career year last year. Could these guys get some of that back, or maybe Lindholm breaks out? What do you see as the most likely?
I think they can. Here's the simple answer: just keeping the lines where the hell they should be is number one. I mean, Marty was moving those lines around. You can't get any rhythm playing with not even knowing who you're playing with the next shift, not the next game, the next shift. And he was so loosey-goosey with it and so frustrated with the team that he just kept moving them around. So getting some sort of rhythm would be the first thing for me. It's just, take your pairs or your lines and just keep them together for 15, 20 games, whatever, and just get some continuity. And I think that helps to be from the get-go. And the other thing is confidence. With Sacco, they seem to be playing a little bit more confidently. Like we said, they're getting pucks more on net. They're looking to shoot more. That should generate more offense just organically, you would think. The big things, though, are the center play. So Coyle, Lindholm, those guys need to be able to generate some offense. Guys like Zacha need to generate a little bit more production. And we're seeing a much better Marchand. And I think that's a good indication what could happen. There's also a break here for the Four Nations tournament. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the team too, when you take a couple of weeks off. And some guys are playing in the tournament and most guys aren't. So, but hopefully now with this stretch right here through the holidays, they start getting a little bit better offensively. I just don't think they'll ever be a high scoring team, but if they can just be mid pack with good defense and goaltending, they can still make the playoffs, I think.
It did seem almost fitting that Sunday Centennial game, Bruins, Canadiens, all the great players in the history of the franchise are out there, and Morgan Geeky is playing on the first line.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
here we are. Where we're at right now.
Yeah. I mean, here we are. I mean, he's a third line player at best. He was fine there last year with Geeky and with Frederick and Coyle. Like, that was the line, I think. And I think when they're really good, that's really what the line should be. That should be a third line. Now, Frederick is another guy that's just been a major disappointment. Now, I'm not quite as disappointed because I just don't believe he's the player he was last year. I just don't believe it. I think he's like a 10, 12 goal guy. And he should be a guy that mixes it up some. He's a third line checker. He should have that kind of role. He's been getting away from all that. Like, it's not just the offensive production, but you don't just, he goes games where you don't even notice he's on the ice. So that's an issue. And he has a contract coming up. And there's whisperings that he might want to go home to St. Louis. So if that's the case, then move on from the guy. Like, just send him. And there's a large contingent of Bruins fans who love this guy, thinks he's Terry O'Reilly. He's not. Let the guy go. Like, get something for him. If you can get a second round pick.
He's not even Daniel Paille, man.
Yeah, he's not even that. He's not even that. He's not even Rich Peverly or any of those guys. I don't know what he is right now. So if you can get a second round pick for him right now, I'd do it. Like, just move on from the guy and then bring up one of your kids who could do what he's doing, which is virtually nothing. You can bring up one of those guys and just play them, or if Max Jones can come out of the witness protection program, something to just move on from Frederick. So he's been a major disappointment. That hurts too. Fourth line's fine. And Pasternak, usually when Pasternak, like he scored the other night, usually that means that we're going to get a run of a few now. Like he'll start to get a few more. And I predict he'll probably score, the next, 5 or 6 games, he'll probably score in 3 or 4 of them and get back to where he needs to be. I just think he needed to see the puck go in the net, and I think he feels a ton of pressure. He was a guy who had 43 points more, or whatever it was, than the next guy last year.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot is put on his shoulders offensively, and he has virtually no offensive center, like to help him generate anything. So he has to generate everything by himself. His power play points are down because the power play stinks. I mean, he's not in a great position to succeed right now either. So people love to get on him, and I get it. Get on him, fine. But you also have to look at the other way, too, is that he doesn't have a lot to work with there, and he's feeling the pressure. But if he gets going, then I think that it's almost like it helps relax the rest of the team. Like, hey, our guy's scoring, so there's not enough pressure on us now, too. And it sort of starts to generate more offensive, success.
Ty Anderson made a good point. This is a couple weeks ago now. It's probably right around the time Monty got fired, but he was talking about Elias Lindholm, who's been playing better the last few games. But he was saying, they said they were going to address, playmaking center, someone who was going to help Pasternak, and secondary scoring. And then they signed Elias Lindholm, which doesn't do either of those things because he comes in to play on the first line, and that would be primary scoring if he was scoring, but he's not doing that. So he's not creating for Pasternak either. And so it's I don't know. It's just, I mean, we've talked about the Lindholm thing a few times, but that still needs to continue to get better.
Well, right now he's playing like a really good third line checking center. Like he's a very good defensive center. He can win faceoffs. I mean, he's great. He's playing like a good third line center right now. That's not what he's getting paid to do. That wasn't
Charlie
what the role
Coyle
was. Yeah, he's a Charlie Coyle. That's what he is right now. And I said this when they were in the offseason, when they had pretty much signed Lindholm before he was a worst kept secret in the league that they signed him. And I said it right then, like, don't chase the position. Like, this isn't the guy you need. You need a really good top line center, which you're not going to get. So go get a winger who can score 30 goals and pair him with Pasternak or have him on the second line, whatever it is, and at least get the goal scoring figured out. And then you can figure out the center. It'll immediately make your centers better when they have more goal scoring wingers on the wings. So they chase the position, and now you get screwed.
Yes, and we're seeing it.
Yeah, we're seeing it. Yeah,
and we kind of joked about this, that early returns are showing that the Bruins might have won the Ullmark trade in a way, right? Like Kastelik has been, a nice player, a nice little player to have. I mean, he's not going to be a big time goal scorer or anything, but he's a third and fourth line guy who's doing his job. I mean, one of the few guys that's done his job. And you're starting to, obviously, Korpisalo's had a good start to the year. And now it feels like you're getting Swayman into rhythm. Like, he obviously doesn't have a preseason. I mean, practicing with BU, great. But does it feel like, okay, we've got Swayman back, the Swayman that we thought we had, gives up kind of a bad one to Caulfield the other night. But is that right to say that it feels like, okay, it looks like we're getting a goaltender that is ready to play in the NHL this season, and in a couple of weeks he should be, worth 8.25.
Yeah, I think some of it is about the defensive structure. I mean, if it's better, that helps him. A little bit, the high danger chances, the giveaways that cause some unpredictable, hockey play, that plays in it too. And I'll tell you what, just tandem the thing for a couple of months, like you did last year.
Yeah, why not?
Korpisalo's playing fine, just tandem it for a bit until he gets into that rhythm. This is part of the issue when a guy's been playing tandem goaltending, and now you're expecting him to play 65 games. There's an adjustment. You can't, if you have a bad goal, bad game, you have like one day and then you're playing again. Like, instead of having maybe 4 or 5 days when your guy's going to play, and then you don't play again till the next game. So you have extra time to get it right. Watch video, work on your mechanics, or just take a breath. So that's part of it too. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. But I think you might see more tandem play, especially with Korpisalo playing fine. And the thing about the trade, like, I think that the expectation was, hey, Vezina Trophy winner, you should get a bunch. First of all, goalies don't typically get as much as you think in trade. And he's 31. He had some issues with injury the last 2 seasons in the postseason where Swayman ended up finishing the playoffs. You know, there was a few things there. And then he got only 4 years, and Swayman got 8 because of how old he is. And then, of course, there's Ottawa. Ottawa's not as good defensively as Boston had been the last couple of years. Like, It's a different team. It's a different structure. It's different defense. It's there's a lot, going into that. So I think that they did okay. It also, it's all going to be determined on Dean Letourneau. If he turns into an NHL player, then it's a great trade. If he doesn't, then it's fine. Then it was fine. And you move on, and you didn't want to keep both, and you didn't want to pay both. So there was really not much you could do about it. So, I mean, I think, Castle, and then, of course, Korpisalo's been okay. Mm-hmm. So you saved some money there. So, it's right now, the trade is fine. It could be better, but I think it never gets past, it never gets below fine. So it wasn't a bad one,
Last question from me before we get you out of here. Speaking of Boston defense, Sunday, I just want you to finish this sentence for me. Sunday was Charlie McAvoy's best game since?
Probably his best game since early last season, I would say. Like, as far as just complete game. Like, I think there were parts toward the end of last season, the last couple months of last season, it wasn't great. It was starting to trend in a bad direction. So I would say right around this time last year, December, probably in that range, maybe first of the year. It probably goes back that far where he just hasn't been consistent. He's just been kind of out of place. He's trying to do too much. I mean, you can analyze whatever has been wrong with him. But I think, look, and I don't know if it's a coincidence, but he was excellent with Bruce Cassidy. He was not good with Jim Montgomery, and he's been really good with Joe Sacco. So you can determine what that's about. Like, and I don't know. Look, it could be completely coincidental, but I'm telling you that it's almost like the switch went off and then back on when Jim Montgomery wasn't here. So he literally changed as a player. Now, I don't know if it was just he got the money, because that's another thing people say. You get the money, you relax a little, or you want to do so much to prove the money's right that it's just now you're out of sorts. Now it's just you're not playing well because you're doing too much. Could be, but it just seems as though Montgomery wanted a little bit more out of him, and I think it made him think, along with the contract, that I have to do more. And his play regressed with Jim Montgomery. Sacco's back to let's keep it simple, and all of a sudden he's back. So I don't know. You do it. I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
I mean,
that's what happened.
Look, the proof's in the pudding, man. That wraparound goal on Sunday. I mean, that looks like a guy who could win the Norris Trophy.
Yes, that's Norris Trophy behavior. Yes,
I mean, and he's aggressive. Right. He's been more aggressive. I mean, we were talking before the season. I had asked you, like, well, should Mason Lowry be running the second power play? And I think you said he should be running the first. Like, we saw it at the end of last season.
Yeah.
I mean, you need that Charlie McAvoy back. You need that 2020, 2021, 2019 Charlie McAvoy back. So hopefully that is the case. Hopefully. Matt Barry of the Bruins Benders podcast, new episode out tomorrow, Thursday
morning early.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. And of course, after every game on the Inside the Rink YouTube, I'm a frequenter of it. It's a lot of fun. You guys can be on there for a while, but there's a lot to talk about, and these things are blowing up. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. Sometimes the losses are better than the wins on there. Just on there, though.
For sure.
Just on there.
Matt Barry of the Bruins Benders podcast. We will check in with him next week. We're going to put a bow on this thing with Pete Souza. That's coming up next on The Cam Show.
The Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
It is Matt Mosley, and it's the Obstructed View podcast, Rogue Media Network. I think they're learning that there's really no wonderful view of me. See, I feel like they think this feed's going to be really wonderful.
There must have been no BS, like 20 scouts, 15 to 20 NBA scouts there to see him, and he was top 5.
When your old number wasn't working, I went through various channels to track you down. So unfortunately, you can never get away from me. But I'm happy.
No.
I'm happy to have you today.
No, thanks for having me. And you know we always family, no matter where I'm at.
I mean, yeah, a new coach comes in, they're going to turn the roster. I think that's just we've got all these transfer portal stats and what Dion did and what Fritz has done. I mean, that's the deal, man. That's the game that's being played nowadays.
Maybe a little bit unknown at quarterback. I mean, unknown to the rest of the world, but you know, he dove into the portal and got a guy who is super, super athletic.
South Dakota State's really good. Give us a little bit of breakdown about what they can do and what Oklahoma State needs to be worried about.
But look at that form right there. I need to say nothing else about this because I found one.
I'm looking at LFO videos here.
Jeez. The guy's trying to look up LFO videos. Can we give him 10 seconds so we can find all 3?
Well, no. Let's go.
You put me in a bad spot where I got to take a dig at LFO. I fucking love LFO.
Well, no, but I asked
The late
you.
Rich Cronin.
I asked you a reasonable question.
Welcome
right?
back to the camp show.
Oh, we got
Yes,
hold on.
You guys know on the TV.
Yeah, this is all, yes, yes.
It is what it is, as they say. Let's continue.
You were talking.
Okay, well, I'm done.
You were in the middle of a sentence. What were you saying? I don't remember what you're saying.
We were talking about LFO. We were singing the song Girls Stop By for the Summer.
Summer Girls is the name of the
Summer
song.
Girls, whatever.
Big hit.
And I said, what jersey did the guy have on? Nobody had an answer. I figured it was a
Nobody had a right
softball
answer.
for you because the guy's wearing a Tom Brady jersey. And then you alerted me that that was in a different video. Correct?
Which, yes, it was for
Which
the song
who
Girl
knew
on
that
TV.
LFO had more than one goddamn video?
They had 3 singles. That was from Girl on TV, which is about
Jennifer Love Hewitt,
who Mike Hamilton wants on his podcast.
I knew that right away, by the way. Can you tell me the Jennifer Love Hewitt television show that was canceled very early on, probably in its infancy? It was in 1999. Can you tell me the name?
The Jennifer Love Hewitt Show.
Time of Your Life. It was.
I was
about
basically there.
It was about a girl moving to New York City.
Where was Jennifer Love Hewitt born?
Waco, Texas.
Waco, Texas.
There you go. I'm
I
surprised.
think she grew up in like Nolanville or Lacey Lakeview or something.
Mike has got no traction.
That's wild. That's
Yeah.
wild. So the guy Rich Kingston, who was the lead in LFO,
Yeah.
who I think was I think they were
Another Lou Pearlman.
Lou Pearlman, yeah.
Which is Mike.
I mean, obviously they all
Mike
were.
is Big Papa. That's what he wants to be with
Yes.
Rogue Music.
The guy is from Kingston, Massachusetts, which is less than a half hour from where I grew up. And he went to like the local kind of commuter teacher school, Bridgewater State. And I always thought that was really cool. And I didn't know it until the first time I heard Summer Girls, which was in like high school or college. and the way he said Paul Revere, I was like,
You were
wait, this
born when
guy's
that
from
song
Boston,
came
man.
out, correct?
I was 2. I think it came out in 97.
That's right, 97.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I like LFO. The late Rich Kingston, unfortunately.
What?
Yeah, he died like 15 years ago.
How?
Cancer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oof.
Speaking of music, I'm a real appreciator of music. Pete likes to think so. He just like guesses random songs, though. He doesn't check himself.
Okay.
He needs a music ombudsman. Is what he needs. But one other thing Pete loves is Christmas. He loves Christmas albums. He was talking about this on a show yesterday. He wants to do a Christmas album here with Rogue, and he dressed the part. So Pete, you threw around a couple of titles in that.
What if somebody only sees me on my show yesterday and your show today, and they're like, "Why is this guy always wearing a turtleneck? He's such
It'd be great, man.
a douche." All right, go ahead.
It'd be great. So let's just say first single off the Pete Souza Christmas album. What is the song?
Jingle Bell Rock.
Okay. You mentioned like 10. I don't even know if that was one of them.
It wasn't.
You've been thinking about it.
Well, it's just like that's a banger to start your album off with.
Sure.
I mean, that's because I think now we're talking about sequence of tracks. I think you want that to be your Ricky Henderson. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm?
Any ones that we would sing in church?
Oh,
poo-pooed
come
Little
all
Drummer
ye
Boy.
faithful.
It's a good one, man.
Yeah. Joy to the world. But I would
Right.
need more people for Joy to the World.
I can help you out.
No. We're talking about like I need like the Harlem Boys Choir or something. And now we're talking, right?
Fine. Willie Worsley used to lead the Harlem Boys Choir.
My cousin Jimmy.
66 national champion.
Oh, really?
Texas Western. Yeah.
My cousin Jimmy is always does work with the boys choir.
I feel like that's a straight to DVD knockoff sequel of My Cousin Vinny.
No, my cousin Jimmy.
My other cousin Jimmy.
Jimmy the Greek. He married my cousin Stephanie. I don't even know what he is to me. Jimmy Papoulis. He's an amazing guy. Is a music composer.
That's awesome.
Has done many big commercials, and he's very active in the music community. And he's, I think, very wealthy. And
Well, we throw some of those church songs in there, and then your mother actually plays it at Christmas. I think she'll be a fan of those.
my mom.
Yeah. What do you
No,
think?
she would be like, he's so terrible. She would not.
But
do
she'd
that.
like that you would do "Oh Come All You Faithful."
Yeah, She would be into that, the religious side of it, sure. Yeah, because look, I try to keep alive, like the baby Jesus and his whole like role in this thing. I know
That's good. I love that about you, Pete.
we had to make Christy and I made ornaments with the kids because that's what I do now is like stuff like that. And I was like, I knew that they're kind of like a little like off when it comes to God, like they're not quite. They don't
Sure.
discuss it like I do. And I'm not God squad by any means, but I'm a very spiritual guy. So I grew up Catholic. So I wanted to do like a manger. You know, I picked that out, like a manger scene. And that's what I did. And they were like, why did you do it? I said, because of Jesus. That's why I'm picking this one.
Heck yeah, dude. Why did you do it? Like, that's an interesting question. I know they might not be going to church every week, but you don't understand why you might be doing it. What the holiday's about? I don't know.
I do think people have
kinda
strayed, dude.
I know, but they know that that's what Christmas was, at least was about, if not is about,
Yeah.
right? Anyway,
Oh,
I don't think
Tannenbaum.
they can teach you that in school, though. So,
Every time I hear Mike Tannenbaum's name, all I hear is "Oh Tannenbaum" by Nat King Cole.
all right, what is the worst Christmas song?
Wow, the worst Christmas
Zach,
song.
I have a feeling Pete's not going to agree with us.
Well,
which is wild. But I think he
there's.
will.
Or you guys are going to say "Last Christmas" because you want to shit on Wham.
That was on the list, but it was not number one.
You know, I don't like the Beatles Christmas song at all. What one is that?
Is it the Beatles? or
So
a
This
member
Is
of the
Christmas.
Beatles? Oh,
Hey,
yeah, I think that was just Lennon.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do not
I'm
like
not a
that
huge,
song.
I'm
Oh,
not a
really?
huge fan of
I
song.
actually do.
No.
I don't mind that one.
Eh,
The one that I
Exactly.
don't mind is the other
that you don't like.
that I don't like is
Yeah.
the other member.
Yeah, John Lennon did a couple. He also did "Merry Xmas War Is Over."
So
Which
This Is
that,
Christmas.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's the same thing. I think, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the same thing.
I don't need a Christmas song that
That's
takes
John
itself
Lennon.
too seriously.
Yeah, it's
Christmas.
not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of it. I think the worst Christmas song is one of the worst songs ever written, and it's by a different Beatle, and that is "Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time"
Yes,
by Paul McCartney.
that's annoying.
It's awful.
It's annoying.
so terrible.
It's just annoying.
And like, I'm not even against the pop singers doing it because I really like Lil Saint Nick by the Beach Boys. I can vibe with that. And I have to admit, of course, Mariah Carey's song is great. Like, it's a great song. I probably don't need to hear it again.
Father
in my
Christmas
life.
is a great one by the Kinks.
Yeah. You ever heard Merry Xmas, Everybody by, which I think is what I was getting confused with earlier, by Slade?
Not off the top
It's a
of my
good
head.
one.
That doesn't
It's a
sound
good
familiar
one.
to me. Yeah.
It's a good one.
We could play it here, but we get your channel taken down. So.
Yeah, it's too bad. Genuinely, you know what? Grace hates this, but genuinely, my favorite Christmas song is Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues. You know that one?
No. I mean, maybe if I heard it, right? But not off the top.
So it's Shane McGowan, the late Shane McGowan from the Pogues, and the
You could have
late
told me that the guy was alive and well.
the late Christy McCall.
How do I know her
and-
name?
I don't know.
Pogues?
This song probably, but it's about this couple that like hates each other and they're kind of lashing out around Christmas. But it's got like kind of this backdrop of this time of year, and it's awesome. Like, it's funny, and they say a word in that you can't say anymore. In Britain, it would be cigarettes, or that's what they would be interchangeable with. You scumbag, you maggot, you cheap lousy.
Okay.
Which you can't do anymore. But it's a funny song, and it's my favorite. It's great.
I like the one by the
because now we're in this, bro. We're 3 weeks from Christmas.
I like the one by the
And I've bought, like,
female rock and roll artist. She's like, bah humbug, well, the holiday. You know
Zach, you got anything on that?
You know what I'm talking about?
He's gonna type that in real quick.
Christmas.
He's gonna type that into Google.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. But I think I'll miss this one this year. Merry Christmas. You know what I'm talking about now.
Yeah, I do know that part of it.
Merry
See, this
Christmas.
is what's great about Christmas music, though, is there's
You know
like
what?
this underbelly that you just don't know from like person to person, place to place.
Before
Like,
I considered myself, and I
Merry
do this
Christmas,
with
Merry
certain things.
Christmas.
I thought I was on the inside, like I was early to the party with Band-Aid. Do we know it's Christmas time? Like, that was my favorite Christmas song back in like 1997.
I think that's
and it
I
was
think
from
that song,
like 85, 86. But
I think that song is a little patronizing.
well, it is, and it's also overdone. At this point, it's cooked. Again, it takes itself very seriously. I used to love it when Bono comes in and he says, "Well, tonight, thank God it's them instead of you." That can, in the right moment, give me chills and goosebumps. Yeah.
Wow.
My buddy Bart Smith used to love that. Yeah.
Did we talk about Christmas movies?
No.
All right, then let's continue to go. I know you hate ranking things, but what would you pick as your Christmas movie?
I mean, Christmas Vacation. I'm sorry if that's cliche. That is because I love Chevy Chase. I love.
I don't think that's cliche.
It kind of is. I love Chevy Chase so much that there's not, that movie's flawless. It truly is flawless, and I appreciate how I saw it in the theater after Christmas, so, and it really, like, as a kid,
89 or so.
yeah. And me and Jesse shoot one as a kid, it can be anticlimactic when Christmas was over, and seeing that after Christmas really gave me a total jolt. And I love that movie. Loved
that's
it.
what's
Loved
going to
it,
become
loved
of me when I move to Chicago.
You're going to be like Kevin.
The name of
Probably
the
not.
song that Pete was singing was Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses. It came out in 1981. It was their highest charting song on
Yeah.
the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way he
In
was
their
describing
career,
it
yeah.
was like, oh, this famous rock female singer. I'm thinking
Well,
like Joan
she
Jett or
sounds.
something.
She really sounds like she knows what she's doing. But
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
No,
I'll
but
take
that-
Christmas Vacation.
Christmas
That
Vacation,
movie bangs. Big time.
and then you can get snobby, like I know you.
You know
will.
what? So I've told you this before, but like I love movies, I love cinema, motion pictures, and my dad is not that. He doesn't love popular music or movies from any time, but he loves Christmas Vacation because that's still part of like he loves like Caddyshack and Airplane and Naked Gun, so it's still kind of in that vein. Animal House, which is another National Lampoon's, obviously, and he will quote Christmas Vacation all the time. And one year I was so jealous because my brother found a great Christmas present for him, which was the the glasses with the antlers on it that he's drinking the eggnog from. Loves that. And like without fail, when I go there, there will be at least 5 mentions each of, "You serious, Clark?" Or "I'd like to get you something real nice." Or one that's year round is, "Hey, I bet you'd like a cold one right now." And he just hands me his and cracks open another one. Like that is.
What does he say?
No.
What does Clark say about to Eddie? Like, "I can't believe it's only been a year," something like that. Like, it's really awesome. My buddy Ryan says that to me whenever I go to his house for the holidays.
Or what's the other one he brings up? He's like, he's chasing his dream. He's like, college, not circus. Or like the yak lady, with the big old horns.
My brother
nice
Michael,
lady and a hell of a cook. He loves saying that, man. That's like the only movie that I could like. He will serially throw quotes at.
Your dad
him
will.
Still. Yeah, like Caddyshack here and there, Animal House. But like I know this time of year, he will do Christmas Vacation.
It's the best.
Yeah,
it is. You're better off just let him finish. That's best.
Another one.
Yeah. And by the way,
Well,
who
Scraps
played
is a boy
Audrey in Christmas Vacation? What's her
Juliette
face?
Lewis?
Yeah, I had such a crush on this version of Juliette Lewis, like because I was right in my wheelhouse. I
It
was
really
like
should
12.
be Bev D'Angelo.
I was 12 or 13. Well, of course, Beverly D'Angelo was.
Or
By
Julia
the way,
Louis-Dreyfus, who's also in that movie.
Yes, she's so cute. And Chevy Chase was a stud, but like Clark really outkicked his coverage with
Big
Beverly.
time.
I mean, with Beverly, and by the way, Clark is like a real piece of shit. Like in Family Vacation, like he's trying to like that move with Christy Brinkley down by the pool is really screwed up,
That's
dude.
tough.
And he goes to the lobby to find like another girl. That's crazy.
Yeah. The lingerie section in Christmas Vacation too.
Oh, that's so
It's good stuff.
By the way,
The perfume lady.
that woman is so attractive. I've multiple times done a deep dive on her, always hoping.
Although we don't see Pete.
It's
certainly implied. Yeah.
Always hoping that her career will end out better than it actually has. And it's like not like that's like the only movie she's been in, maybe one other thing. I think she was in some music videos, and it's not good right now.
Oh, yeah. It's such a great movie.
Such an amazing movie.
Anyway, it's tough to beat that, man. It's tough to beat that.
I'm trying to think if there's any others that I absolutely love. Christmas Story. I'm not. It's been like,
dude.
I'm sorry. It's too much. I love great movie.
I'm
love
so
it.
sick of A Christmas Story, man.
Yeah.
It's fine, and I'm sick. I'm so
Die Hard?
sick of it.
Die Hard. Is that
Rocky
a Christmas
IV.
movie? I think it is.
Rocky IV.
Rocky IV is not. Die Hard's an awesome Christmas movie. I believe it is a Christmas movie. It has Christmas vibes from start to finish, and it's a great movie. Scotty Springler's in the house. He agrees. Yeah.
Yeah, I can take it or leave it. Not a huge Die Hard guy. Sorry, Pete. Sorry. Where does It's a Wonderful Life fit into this?
Well, it was my brother Michael's favorite Christmas movie, which I never quite got, but it was. So I watched it a lot as a kid, and I respect it.
It's my grandmother's and my mother's favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And they're not like, this is my dad's mom and my mom. So like very different people, and that's still their favorite Christmas movie. So it's big time for me.
George Bailey. Yeah. Clarence.
Donna Reed. Whoo. Had it going on.
Sure did. Yeah.
She had it going on. Talk about outkicking your coverage. Well, I mean, Jimmy Stewart's not too bad himself.
No.
And was a popular guy in that town. But Sam Wainwright was anyway. I think we're about up against it in time. Pete Souza, it's been real.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. I hope there can be some Christ and Christmas this year at the household. No, I hope you have a great time. We will be back on Monday on the Cam Show, just in a different setting. So this concludes the Cam Show as you've only seen it in this studio, which is a bummer, man. I really like this studio.
I can't wait to see what you come up with next.
Brother, I'm worried about it. Can I just say that? I'm worried about it. It's a small space. I don't think my lovely girlfriend, as much as she thinks of me all the time, I don't think she put too much into what my studio is going to be. And I need a lot of studio time. So we're really going to see how this pans out. I need backdrops. I need
I can
plugins.
tell you how to do it.
I don't know if we have a closet like you did.
Dude, you can do it. You can get the right wallpaper.
I'm going to be in the
and
friggin' washing machine, man.
You can figure it out, dude.
Anyway, Pete, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you to Zach. Thank you to Scotty. Thank you to everyone at Rogue Media. I'll still be working here. I don't want this to sound like goodbye. I will still be working here. So we will be back high noon Eastern time on Monday, 11 a.m. Central. Be sure to like and subscribe. Get notified whenever we're going live. I'll give you a hint. It's every weekday. Well, except for the back end of this week. And probably not Christmas either. I think we'll take the day off.
All right, Cam. Wrap it up.
Anyway, we will see you on Monday on The Cam Show.
You are here with your shoot first point guard, Corey Dickman.
Also, if you're not creating new fans in a small market, then you're not creating that base of people to go to games and pay for merchandise and pay for stuff and concessions at the Moda Center and yada yada.
Yeah, let's talk draft. That's the only thing we have to look forward to. The only thing we have to look forward to. That's what I will teach my son. You will teach your daughter as Blazers fans. It's like, look, the two most exciting times of the year for us are the draft lottery and the draft itself. Like, here we are. This is our thing. Give me some memories and thoughts. I know you had mentioned the first time you had met Bill. What were some of those first memories that came back when you heard the news?
Coming up on the Pete Souza Show, Rogue Media and ESPN's own King McClure talks to us about the NBA draft.
The team is banged
Are
up
you
a
getting
bit.
undressed while we're doing this?
No.
What is happening?
And it's partially because the team has like pretty kind
Wrong
of big problems.
podcast, Nick. Wrong podcast. When you're a golfer, what is the point of no return? He was the best play-by-play announcer around, in my opinion, and he made me want to continue to watch.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.